Siwelang Abshegi Lucha Sanvanani Mulweni. My name is Naledi Mfoloe, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the latest edition of the African Diaspora News channel, where we unravel the stories that shape our world and our communities. Now, earlier this week, British politician Jacob Mogg made an absurd statement that Caribbean nations owe Britain for the legacy of slavery. Yes, you heard that right. Jacob, a man whose ancestors are directly tied to the exploitation and oppression of millions of people, actually has the guts to claim that the descendants of enslaved Africans owe gratitude to their colonizers. His words are as tone deaf as they are dangerous. Now, Jacob's comments are not just an insult to the Caribbean nations, but to the millions of Black people worldwide whose ancestors were dragged across the oceans, bound in chains, and worked to death for the wealth of the British Empire. Now, to even begin suggesting that those same nations owe Britain for slavery is a distorted twisting of history. It's like, you know what it's like? It's like asking a sexually assaulted survivor to thank their abuser for the opportunity to become stronger. It's not just offensive. It's a deliberate attempt to erase the true legacy of colonial violence. And to hear someone like Jacob, who benefits from that very history of exploitation, stand up and demand thanks, it's honestly like a slap in the face. I mean, the audacity to claim that Caribbean nations, after centuries of slavery, after fighting for their independence, after losing so many lives in the struggle, somehow owe Britain, just to ignore the true cost of that brutal history. And thankfully, right, one voice has cut through the noise. Iman Ayrton, who is a prominent British activist of the Caribbean heritage, responded powerfully to Jacob's claims. And Iman, in her unapologetic way, reminded the world of a simple truth. Britain owes the Caribbean, not the other way around. The wealth of the British Empire was built on the backs of enslaved Africans and the exploitation of their labor. From sugar plantations in the Caribbean to diamond mines in South Africa, the blood, sweat, and tears of Black people funded the global dominance of European powers. Let's have a look at this video.
They actually be paying us because some of these Caribbean countries are very prosperous. They've done extremely well. And they did well because the British gave them the rule of law and democracy and capitalism. And this has been incredibly successful. The British Empire was an amazing force for good, for civilization and for raising people's standards of living. So why should we have to pay for doing that? Surely we should be paid.
I think that's a very bold question to ask a strong Black woman on your channel, Jacob. And I'll actually pose the question to you. Would you say that about Jews? So I'll just give the context. First and foremost, one could easily argue that the Jewish community, the Israeli Jews, benefited from the Holocaust. And Hitler. Allow me to finish. Let me bring it home, Jacob. Let me bring it home. They benefited from Holocaust and Hitler due to the fact that they were given the state of Israel. Their life expectancy improved. And last but not least, their GDP improved, Israel's GDP improved as a result of Germany giving reparations in 1952. So would you say on national TV about the Jews that they should be happy and should be thanking Hitler and the Holocaust, Amy and David, for what they have gone through because they have benefited in terms of money? I would argue that Amy and David, Jacob wouldn't say this about Jews, but he's saying it about Black people. So let me know what you're saying here, Jacob.
I'm saying it about the whole history of the British colony.
And let's not forget the other uncomfortable truths that Jacob and others conveniently ignore, right? The Caribbean nations have never been adequately compensated for the centuries of slavery. In fact, when Britain abolished slavery, they didn't pay a penny to the enslaved. Instead, they compensated the slave owners. Yes, you heard that right. The people who profited from the blood and labor of the enslaved were paid for their losses. Meanwhile, the descendants of those enslaved people, who are still fighting for justice and reparations today, continue to deal with the aftermath of this trauma. And if you ask me, I believe that Jacob's comments are nothing short of historical revisionism. They're an attempt to rewrite the past, to absolve Britain of its sins, and to silence the rightful demands for reparations. But this won't work. The global Black diaspora is awake, and we are not going to sleep. Iman's response to this outrageous claim is a reminder that the right for justice is far from over. No matter how hard they try to rewrite their history, the truth will always stand. And South Africa, the Caribbean, the United States, the United Kingdom, this fight is global. The truth must be heard, and the time for reparations and reckoning with the dark chapter in history, I believe, is long overdue. What are your thoughts on this? Please, let's continue the conversation in the comment section. And while you're at it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. That's it from me. Till we meet again, it is goodbye for now.
Unleash the power of knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app now on Google Play and Apple App Store. Stay informed with authentic and diverse perspectives, breaking news, and cultural insights. Immerse yourself in a community that celebrates unity, resilience, and progress. Experience the vibrancy of the diaspora at your fingertips. Don't miss out. Empower